Tanner, thank you so much to be here today with a topic that actually you're going to educate me a little bit because I'm not an expert on it. So I'm very curious to see all the answers that you have. So thank you so much to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And why don't we start this with an introduction of yourself, who you are and what you do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Tanner Davenport. I'm from Oregon. I moved over to Utah after high school. I went over and did practice squad for college for a little bit at Utah Valley, and I realized that I wasn't that fast, so I stopped and I studied business, marketing, and software engineering. So I liked the idea of business, and I wanted to learn how to market myself and do the internal coding for all the websites that I could go and use or produce for a company. I didn't really like it that much, and it was really boring. So I got done with that, did 2 years, served a mission for my church, British Columbia, was incredible, learned a ton of stuff. And then I got introduced to Moxie by a buddy who said, he called me, he's like, hey, I made a ton of money, like selling pest control door to door. And I was like, what kind of pyramid scheme or scam is this? Like, I didn't know anything about sales.
Of course.
So I did a lot of research, made a lot of companies, and realized that, yeah, it was a really big thing and you could make a lot of money doing it. And I met over with Moxie, and they aligned with like the core values that I had, and I liked the people a lot. I felt really good when I was around them. So I've been going on Moxie now. I think this is going to be my 7th summer with Moxie. Yeah.
And the people that you work with is almost everything. I would say this is almost everything.
Yeah, almost.
Because you need to do this every single day. You need to meet every single day. Can you imagine to hate the people that you're working with?
Oh yeah, you'd be gone right away. Even if you were guaranteed millions of dollars, and I know it sounds crazy, but you would hate your life and you wouldn't enjoy it. And so money couldn't get you out of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, money doesn't buy fulfillment, so it wouldn't work out.
I love that you come from a completely different scenario than recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is actually, do you remember your first day of recruiting, the exactly first time that you spoke with the first guy telling him you want to do this? Yeah. Do you remember the surprise of something, or how was it?
So I was nervous, but I tried to do some recruiting like before my first summer selling. So I didn't know anything about the job. I didn't even know if I could do the job. And then I was trying to tell my friends about this. And so they would ask me questions and I would go, well, I haven't done it before, so I have no idea. So yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I didn't want to lie to people, and I wanted to be honest and truthful, but it was nerve-wracking because all their questions they had were like, you and me are going to figure this out together, because I have no idea. So that was my first time ever doing it. But once I did my first summer and I had some confidence and I actually had experience under my belt, it felt a lot better, because then it was, hey, come and do what I just did. I've done this, so I can help you do the same thing, which, when you have a lot more confidence like that, the message, it comes across a lot more, I guess, persuasive, because, oh, I've done this, he's done it, he can show me how to do it, rather than, I don't know if this is even going to work, but like, let's try doing it together. That's a lot harder to convince people to go and do something, because, yeah, there's no backbone to the whole idea.
Absolutely. What is exactly recruiting and why is important?
I don't know. There's a lot of ways to go about it. For me, I view recruiting as like, there might be a lot of definitions, but my version of recruiting is truly helping people understand and recognize their potential, and then showing them how what I'm doing and what they could go over and do will be a vehicle to help them get there. That's the whole idea.
Beautiful.
So I think it's different though. Like with this job, it's way different, because in like a 9-to-5 job, workspace, desk job, whatever it may be, there's no risk. And so, there's a lot of risk. There's no risk is that you know what to expect. You know that if you give 10% effort or you give 100% effort, I'm still going to get this $15 an hour job. It's going to pay me at the end of the day. With this job, it's not. Like, you could go over and work and make $0, and you can go over and work and make $1,000 in a day, but there's nothing guaranteed. And so
it's all up to you.
Yeah, it's all up to you completely. Like, even if I were to go over and hire somebody on and do nothing until the summertime starts with them, like, the people that go out and do the best of this job are the people that are proactive, and they go and say, hey, well, I haven't heard from you. Like, what do I need to go over and do next? Be prepared. Now, granted, I don't do that. Like, I make sure that I'm proactive and I go and do everything I possibly can to help them succeed. But at the end of the day, it's completely up to them.
And let's explain exactly what it is for people that have absolutely no idea. We're talking about recruiting for sales, and it's a summer job. That's correct?
Yeah, so it's a seasonal job. So 4 months out of the year, we go out to the East Coast and we sell pest control door to door. Super sexy. It's awesome. It seems unconventional. with social media nowadays, the whole message is work less and make more, which isn't this job at all. Like, you work a lot more to then go and make a lot more. So, people leave their homes and go between semesters, whatever it may be, to go to this random state in this random city to go and sell bug juice door to door to people that they don't know. I think at the beginning, there's a lot of quantity because it's like on the doors. On the doors, when you first start off, you're knocking 100 of doors before you get a sale because you're sucky at the job and you have to learn the ins and outs. Same thing with recruiting. Like, there's times where, when I first started, you go and you interview a ton of people and you don't get any progress because you've never done it before and you don't know anything about it. So to go and find one quality rep, you might have to interview 100 people. But now, like, by doing this a long time and knowing like what it takes for people to succeed at this job, you can recruit, or interview 5 people or 10 people to get like one person that's really quality. So there's that part of it. But for the company, recruiting is huge. Like, especially too, if I recruited and I focused on all the wrong things and I had a bunch of people come out and all the accounts that I sold were terrible and they all canceled and Moxie lost a lot of money from it, that's terrible, right? Then that's a risk that they're willing to take. Or I go and do a really good job and I set really good expectations and I have a type of person that is like the ideal avatar that I focus on trying to find because that person is the type of person that everyone wants to be around, they succeed, etc. Then Moxie, it works out really well for Moxie because then they have a lot of customers and revenue and trust and referrals and all these different things that are consequences of that. And so, I think there's a mix of both. But I think with recruiting, if it's done wrong, it could lose the company a ton of money. But if it's done right, then it can make the company a ton of money too. And
do you think that recruitment is more optimized for talent, belief, or commitment?
I think commitment for sure. Like, every single year, there's people that do super good at this job, and you look at them, and not to be judgmental, but you look at them and you go, how did you do well? Like, honestly, like, whether they're super nerdy, super introverted, like, it's like, how does that guy do so well?
Because also, let's explain that this is sales door to door.
Correct.
So you need to knock the doors and convince people right there.
Yeah.
That's exactly like a salesman is absolutely the...
Well, people think of sales, and I think in general, the first thing that came to my mind was like, it was like a sleazy car salesman. It was someone who was super, they try to be super persuasive. They try to be your best friend, all these different things. And I just didn't like that at all. I think it felt kind of slimy and gross.
Because it's not necessarily like that, right?
No. I think those people do... I think those people in the short term could do well, but in the long term, it's never beneficial because people will find out your truth. And so... if people, if there's that person in front of me, you can tell after a couple minutes of a conversation, that's not a person I want to be around. Like, that's not someone I want to work with. So the question is, okay, well, if it's not that type of person, then like what person as well? Yeah. Who am I looking for? And the people that are so bought into like their goals and where they want to go in life, the sales skills will follow. Like, you can learn the sales skills pretty quickly, but the hardest part is finding people that are truly bought into where they want to go. And they're truly people that you meet and they go, I want to be this type of person in 5 years from now. How can you help me get there? That person is like, that they will do anything to go over and hit their goals. And it's really fun to work with those type of people. So,
and because you did now a little bit of recruitment, what do you think is something that you are able to understand when you do a recruitment that usually normal people don't, because you have the experience, so you're like, haha, this guy answered me like this or did like this, so that means, do you have some intuition sometimes that you do?
100%, yeah. It's similar. Recruiting and sales is basically the same thing. Like, there's an energy that you have and that you give to people, and if you're fake or you're disingenuine, then they can tell right away. So that's huge. But the second part is people are really good, like in interviews, people are really good, and even in the summertime, really good at selling you on the idea that they're working hard and that they're doing everything they can to go over and succeed. Because they're like, hey, I'm working so hard. Everyone's saying no, I'm trying to get better. And
right. I would think that is the first.
Yeah, and it's super easy. And for me, I'm like, okay, that's good. That's great. That was rookie me where I didn't know anything. But then what you realize is that the results don't lie. So if they're not producing and they say they're doing all these different things, either like they're selling you on the idea that they are doing that, which they're not, or you sell yourself on the idea that, yeah, they're not doing that. And so I need to identify, shadow them, do everything I can to go and like help them figure it out. Because if I don't do that, they're going to go home in a couple weeks anyways. And so, I don't know. I just think with this day and age, with this generation, like Instagram, TikTok, everything, we're just wired to have like instant gratification and instant dopamine. And this job is not like that. Like if you don't get a sale, there's days I don't get a sale till 9 p.m., like the last door I knock. And most people would give up after the first hour because they're like, well, I'm so used to hearing that, I'll work for an hour and make $1 million or all this super get rich quick. And it's like, that's not reality. Like everyone that's successful, you interview them and they're like, I just outworked every single person and I gave more effort than anyone else did, but I just figured it out. Like no one had my back and no one was in my corner. I had to be the person that like drove myself. And so, once you find people that are willing to do that, they don't make excuses on the doors. They figure it out. And they're the people that say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? Rather than I'm doing everything that I can, because you're never doing everything that you can. You can always do more. So,
do you think that for recruiting, do you need to have more skill in evaluate people or convincing people? What is more important on the two?
I think it depends on what part of the interview. So like the very first part of the interview, it's evaluation. Like I'm not convincing them of anything at that time because I don't know in that moment if it's even in their best interest to be and work with me.
Fair.
Because like if there's someone who's really good at sales and they're like an absolute, they're all their core values are the exact opposite of mine and they're greedy and they're not wanting to go and live in accordance to like the way that I want to run the program, then they become a cancer if they come out to the summertime. Like if you have someone really negative, that spreads really quickly. So the first part is evaluating. I look for the type of person they are. Are they, is it someone they make excuses? Do they complain? Are they a victim? Or are they, optimistic? Are they driven? Are they hungry to go over and succeed regardless of the circumstances? That's one thing. And the second one is just what, like where their desire is, like where their goals are in life, where they want to work towards. Because if you meet someone and you go, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? And they go, I don't know. Like, well, then, there's a reason why you're working the job that you're working right now is because you've never taken time, even a minute, to like think about where you want to go. So that just tells me that they're not going to be the type of person based off of who they are right now to change that later on, right? But when you look for that and they go, I kind of want to be here. I want to be here. I like this lifestyle. I like this version of myself. Then it's fun because then you know that, there's someone, they have at least some sort of desire burning within them that you can work towards. And I can help them, grow that flame bigger. But if there's no flame and they're not willing to start it, it's, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right? Like you can't force someone and push them past where they don't want to go. So it's impossible. And it makes your life miserable. Like if you try to go over and do
Absolutely.
that. And their life. So
It will not be fun. Is there a stereotype of what is a perfect candidate in your mind, or usually, if there is a book to guide you on recruiting, is there a stereotype of optimistic, young, between 21 and 27? Is there a stereotype?
There is like there's a stereotype of, everybody on social media and Instagram, it's typically like really good looking, super fake tan, super attractive, 6'4". But like what you realize again is all the external things of like the talents, those things can come over time. I mean, I've seen rookies and reps that are super short that are like, anyone would be self-conscious if they're that short and they were, out there surrounded by a bunch of super tall guys.
But good in convincing people.
Yeah, they sell better than the other people because it really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Like if you go and if you are convinced that you want to become this type of person and that this vehicle of Moxie is going to help you go over and get there, you could be 5'4" with a speech impediment and like super, super pasty white. It doesn't matter. You will outsell any of those people that don't have that are 6'4", super good looking, whatever it may be, because energy is what sells people. And so if like you're super bought into that and you're super persuasive on the doors and people can tell that you want this and you have their best interest in mind, like they want to talk to you and they want to buy from that person rather than someone that seems really disingenuine, but has a really good spray tan. You know what I mean?
1000%.
So that's what I believe.
So maybe we are also talking that could be that there is a talent and a magic inside people about this.
I think that there's benefit. There's pros and cons of having talent. So for example, me, I'm actually a good example of this. My first year, I had the curse of the talent all growing up through high school, sports, everything, whether going to state for track and field. Like I didn't really train and practice that hard. I was just given like a God-given ability to go and do well, which bit me in the butt later on a lot, especially with Moxie. So with my first year of selling, like I made a decent amount of money. I can't remember exactly. I think it was around $55,000, $60,000 my first summer. And I didn't work very hard. Like I was under the impression that, I don't really have to work very hard to get the same results. So
I know how to do it, right?
Yeah, I know how to do it. Yeah, I beat the process. I beat the game. Like I know how to do it. It's a different way. But then you realize eventually comes a point in life, whether it's the first summer, and for me it was like my 5th or 6th summer, where I'm like, I just was plateauing. And so I had to go over and realize and be honest with myself and say, you don't have it all figured out at all. You don't have the key. There is no shortcut to this. Like, you have to go and be fully convinced and fully committed to this to make it work in the way that you want it to work. And our owner talks about this a lot, is when one is fully committed, then providence moves. Mm-hmm. So basically, when you actually fully commit to doing something, then the world actually starts doing things that will help you get to where you want to go. Like, it's, people ask you, how do you do it? What's working for you? And you're like, I don't really know. Like, I'm just working, and like it's work. I'm committed to doing this, and the world's kind of just spitting out results for me that are making it easier for me. And so,
and do you think that from the side of the company that is recruiting, right? What is the bright side of convincing people why you are recruiting, why this opportunity is great? Do you think it's more about the money, the core value of the company, or the fact that the future of having a career and the possibility to grow and become somebody? What do you think is?
I honestly, I think it's all of them.
All of them.
And what I mean by this is, if you're promised an awesome opportunity with a great future and great core values, but I'm like, I'm going to pay you $0, it's like, all right, what? I mean, that sounds great, but that sucks. Like, I'm going to be homeless, which isn't really fun. So, but if you're too focused on the money side of things, and you're like, I want this money more than anything, and you're willing to compromise like the core values that you have and say, yeah, it's just a little white lie. Like, it won't really matter. Like, in the future, it won't really affect me that much. Then that also becomes really dangerous. So when you have a mix of all three, of basically this, you have core values that you stick to and that you are, you hold as your foundation, your non-negotiables. This is how I live my life. This is the person that I am. And I show you what future you're going to go over and have by doing those different things. The cool part is the natural consequence of doing that is you make a lot of money. Like, people who go over and do those certain things make a lot of money. And so it's kind of like a square rectangle. Like, what is it? It's like every rectangle is a square, but not every square is a rectangle. So every person that makes a ton of money doesn't necessarily, have all these core values that are super, super good. But all the people that have really, really good core values and they work really hard towards them end up making a lot of money. And so that's really cool. It's like, it's convincing people and persuading people to say, hey, if you truly want a sort of lifestyle that you say that you want, here's the vehicle that will help you go get there. Here's all the different data. Here's the results of people doing it. Like, is that something you want or not? And so your actions will tell me louder or speak louder than your words. So,
and as a recruiter, if you are obligated to choose one,
okay, out of those three,
about these two options,
okay.
A person that will come only one summer but sell very, very good, do a big amount of money, or a person that come with the commitment of coming back every year but sell okay.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I would probably choose the first option. And here's why I'll say that is, if someone is committed to coming back for multiple summers and then they're not selling well, there's a disconnect. Like, in my opinion, I think those are the people that tell themselves that they're doing everything that they can, but in reality, they're actually not. Because, I mean, you've seen thousands and thousands of sales reps come through this process. It's the same every single time. Like, the people that are the hardest worker and they have, they're super bought into their beliefs and they sell the best and the most amount of pest control, there's nothing special about those people at all. And so if you're not selling well, but you're committed to coming back, there needs to be something that changes during the summertime for me to even consider them coming back. Because if they're going to repeat the same process over and over again, it's just not worthwhile. Because it just shows me and proves to me by their actions that they're not actually giving it their all. And it's not worth it for them to come back over and over again if they're not willing to change. The other part, though, is with the person, assuming that they're a really good person, if they sell super well, I mean, our owners and VPs talk about it a ton, but it's like, just end out on top. Like, I have a ton of respect for people that go over and kill it, and then they say, you know what, I'm going to go and pursue a different path, because that person is the type of person to go over and win wherever they go. And so it takes a lot of courage to go and step out from a place that you do really, really well and to go and pursue something that you're passionate about. But because he's proven it and he has a track record, for a fact that guy's going to go over and win wherever else he goes. And so it hurts, obviously, losing those type of people, but sometimes it's just in their best interest. And like, they have a desire to go to med school or be a dentist. And they're like, even though I'm making $250,000 doing this, I'm passionate about dentistry and I want to go and pursue that. And so it's like, it's sad, but it's for the best. And I never want to persuade people to do something that's not in their best interest. So.
For sure. And this is a question that I'm very curious about it. Let's say that you realize that you're a very good recruiter, right? Do you think that a bad job it's possible to recruit for a bad job and recruiting well and with the persuasion that is the best job ever, or actually because it's going to be disruptive for long term as well.
Yeah.
It's always better to say the truth and put a speculative, because in this way the person also know better something how to sell that.
Yeah.
What do you think is the way?
you have to be honest about I mean, it just comes down to who you believe. Like the way that I believe that I am, I try to live my life with as much integrity as possible. And so the way that I view, and I try to view like my actions, my thoughts, everything is this in the best interest of the person that I'm talking to, right? So if you lie to them, then a ton of things happen. In the moment, you might feel really good because it's like, oh, I've got them to sign on, I got them to, whatever it may be. But then the first day of the summer happens and they realize who you actually are and your truth. They go home. They don't want to work with you. No one wants to. So there never is any good long term by not being fully honest about it. And I'm super upfront with people about that too. It's like, hey, by the way, this is going to be the hardest thing that you ever do in your life, period. And people go, yeah, I'm sure. And then they get punched in the nose in the summertime, metaphorically speaking, not actually, hopefully. And then they go, oh my gosh, like this is really, really hard. Why is selling pest control door to door like this hard? Like, why am I crying because of how hard it is? It's like, because it's like how the way diamonds are made, it's like there's a lot of pressure. And so you need to go through that pressure to turn out to be a diamond, right? And so this is going to happen now or in 10 years or 20 years if you're truly committed to this outcome of being this best version of yourself. So I make sure people know that before the summertime begins. Because if I don't, then it ends up biting me in the butt and no one wants to work with me later on because I'm not a man of integrity and I lie to people.
And the reason why I ask you this semi-silly question is because why do we see so many ads everywhere about become a millionaire today? Yeah. This is the best thing. This is so easy. You can do it. You become a millionaire. Why they do so many of this? They're not effective.
No.
Who they convince these people? And even if they convince somebody to enter, after 5 days of working for a company, if they don't see, they will find out. I've never understood. Why do you think they do these ads? What is the point?
Most of those people aren't thinking long term, and so they have shiny car syndrome, right? They see like, oh, if I do this the next week or next month, I can get this, and like that's all I care about. I just want the money. They don't think about the principles of their life. They don't think about their future self. They don't think about like it's specific as, oh, if I had a camera on me right now and I showed my future wife and future daughter and future son this, like would they say, get on you, dad, go scam that guy, like that's super cool? No, they would be like, I don't want to marry that guy. I don't want that guy as my dad. But they don't think long term, because if they did, they'd go, yeah, what I'm doing right now is not like going to help me get to where I want to go.
But I understand that. But do you really think that these ads that say, hey, I am a multimillionaire and I'm telling you, and this is my house and this is my Ferrari, if you come to sell with me, you're going to become a multimillionaire. This really convince people?
We make decisions based on emotion and never on logic. So for example, I think of when you wake up in the morning, right? The night before you had a lot of, again, motion. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be really, really good. Logical. You back it up. So it like reinforces that idea. Yeah, I should wake up early. I should go to the gym. It will make me healthy. That alarm goes off in the morning time. Your first thought is, I don't want to wake up. Like, I don't want to get up. And the logic to justify that is, well, I don't really need to go to the gym. I can do it later. I can do this, whatever, right? So we're either chasing pleasure or we're running away from pain. Like that's how we make our decisions. And so when people are in a super,
so true.
Yeah, you go on Instagram, it's all the highlights of people's life, and you look at that, and people feel depressed, and then they see this ad of change your life, go over and do this. Their emotion is, I want that, and so I will do whatever it takes to go over and do that. And then once they get roped into it, and it's actually shiny object syndrome, it's not actually as good as they think it's going to be. It's too late almost, and people are really good at using fear tactics of being like, well, you can't leave because of this legal thing or this yada yada. Like, it's really unfortunate, and it ruins the rest of the culture for us. Like, where I'm trying to find people that truly want it, and I'm open, transparent about everything. That sort of situation ruins things for me because then they have a bad taste of what it could be. It's like a bad apple. But yeah, I don't know. I think people are so used to instant gratification, instant dopamine, they're willing to do anything and not think about the consequences either way. So they see that, they go, sign me up, and then they get stuck into it, and then it's like...
But
Too late.
do you think that there are two different type of people? Because honestly speaking, for example, for me, if I see something like that, for me it works exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I will think
it turns me off right away.
because I will think, oh, you are trying so hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. If you were a multimillionaire with that house and that Lamborghini, you will be in Instagram looking for people
Exactly.
with these silly hats.
Yeah.
So for me, it will be a big negative thing.
Same. That's the same thing for me too when I see it.
So maybe there are just two different people, that some that they need the justification and somebody that.
Well, I think it's also like you, like both you and I know from like you, from like film directing, all different things that you went over and did. It took a lot of work and it wasn't given to you. So anyone who's gone through anything difficult that knows what it actually takes to do something hard gets turned off by something like that, because they go, that's a lie. That's not reality. That's not the way the world works. But people who haven't gone through that yet, they go, oh, should I go? I mean, this guy's telling me that I can make $1 million and I could work an hour a day for my computer. If they have no experience with that, they can't compare it to anything. So they go, that sounds super sexy. I would love to do that. And then they go and get wrapped into it. They realize that it's not actually like that. But a lot of these people that are marketing like that and sending ads, they typically have some sort of way to make money quickly. For me, like the only way that I make money in the summertime, literally, is if people sell well. So if I'm not a man of my word,
If you sell well and your people sell well.
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So if my people don't sell well, not only do I not make money, but like there's a lot of situations where I lose money. And so in a good way, I'm forced to be the person that I say I want to be, because if I don't train them, help them, have their best interests in mind, do everything I can to help them succeed, then I'm literally wasting time to then lose money. Like it doesn't make any sense at all. Which again is good, because it just, I don't need to be forced to do that. But it's nice to know that the only way that I succeed is if they succeed as well, right? It's a win-win situation. So,
And what do you think is that emotional need that somebody need to say yes to a job when you're recruiting?
hope.
Hope.
Yeah. I mean, that's all people want is hope, right? Like hope that something works out, hope that my life can change. I hope that there's, the grass is green on the other side. Because again, us as human beings, we make decisions emotionally. So like, it's not a logical thing. Once you have the hope and you go, I think that I can do this, and I think this could get me where I want to go, then you start to justify it logically. Oh yeah, I could do that because of X, Y, and Z. But you need to feel good. Like if on paper everything made sense, for example, pyramid schemes, on paper everything sounds perfect. You buy this and you get person bought in. Logically, it makes a ton of sense, but you feel really slimy and weird. So you're like, there's something off, and I don't know what it is, but my emotional, something's weird about this, and I don't want to commit to it. Even though on paper it seems perfectly amazing and logically correct, something's off. And so they need to feel hope. Like they need to feel like, if I work with Tanner, this is what I try to convey. I want them to feel like if I work with Tanner, then I am the most likely to succeed in getting to where I want to go. Because if they truly feel like that, and then my character, my work ethic, my core values, everything is aligned with that, then it reinforces that every time I have a conversation with them. It's like, yeah, like he is that guy. He is going to be the guy to help me get there. And so, because in reality, that's literally the only way to go over and succeed, is by like actually putting in the work, doing what it takes. And so when you have someone in your corner, like cheering you on, but also leading from the front and like doing the work with you and for you, then it's like, it's just a matter of time before you succeed. Like it's already done. Now I just can't, I don't have a time capsule, so I can't rush time, but I know that I'm going to get to where I want to go because of that, which is really cool.
And so you're saying that the recruitment part is more psychological than logical, because if you logically said, okay, so these are the numbers, just read the number and then you decide there is nothing I need to do. It's logical.
Yeah.
It's more psychological.
Everything. I think every decision, it is true. Every decision we make in life is purely comes from emotion. Then once we've decided emotionally whether we want this or not, we justify it with logic. And so, yeah. So, it is all psychological. And I think you mentioned this, or I saw something where the difference of persuasion and manipulation. I'm never manipulating people to go over. Manipulation, if you look at the definition, is basically in an immoral or unethical way convincing people to do something that's not in their best interest, which it just doesn't make sense ever. Like there's no gain that comes from that, from you or from them, because your truth is found out eventually. They come to the summertime, they go, oh, Tanner's a liar, I'm going home. Like, why would you want to work or build or scale or grow with someone that's like that, a leader? You wouldn't. And so, yeah, with persuasion, it's like, which goes back to your other question, is what do I look for? Is the reason why I evaluate at the very beginning, because if I convince someone to go over and do something that I don't know if it's in their best interest or not first, I'm manipulating them.
That's right.
And so there's genuinely times all the time, every week where I meet with someone and it's like, I don't think this is in your best interest, genuinely, because you're not willing to change. I can't force you to change. And until that part of you changes, this vehicle is not going to help you get to where you want to go. Right. But then once you find out from them, from their personal experience, that this is actually something that would be in their best interest, then it's the convincing. Then it's like, hey, if they're like, I want to do this, but I'm nervous, that's a way different conversation, because it's like, you care about it. That's why you're nervous, right? And so let me lay out situations for you. This is what it would look like with Moxie. This is what it would look like with the other direction that you might want to go. What's going to get you to where you want to go quicker? Because at that point, then you're convincing and persuading to do something that's in their best interest, which in my opinion, that's what communication and sales skills are for. Like, that's what you want to do. You don't want to be known as the guy who's slimy and shady, because everyone knows that guy. Whether they think they think no one knows that, everybody knows that guy. But if they think that, this guy I look up to, he's a really good guy, and I'm glad. I had someone the other day on my team that was meeting with other companies, and he after he signed on with me, he said, he looked at me and he said, I'm grateful that you pushed me to go over and do this, and that you convinced me and persuaded me to go over and do this, because this is the best thing that I could have gone and done, for sure. After I thought about it and I've committed to it, this for me is, I don't see any other option that will help me get to my goals. And for me, it made me feel really good, because if I try to do some short-term personality ethics, persuade them, rub their back, dude, you're so good, you're awesome, and I don't get to the actual meat of what their issue was, or what it was going to take that needed to change for them to come work with me, then I would have had the same result of them signing on. But then a week later, they would go, I don't want to do this anymore. I have buyer's remorse, right? Rather than, no, dude, now I'm even more committed, because I knew that you had my best interest in mind, and I could see that from your actions. That is awesome, because then that person wants to work with me for years and years to come, because they know my truth, right? So,
and honestly speaking, I think manipulate is even harder to do it in the long term, because you need to remember all the schemes and tricks that you did for every single person. He become a nightmare. It's exactly the same way why lie versus always say the truth. Always say the truth is so easy. You don't need to remember anything. And lie, you need to remember all the lies. What did you say to who? And so manipulate becomes such a big scheme, and then you lose control.
No one wants to, and that's if you think about it, nobody wants to go and scale or work with someone that isn't a true man of his word ever. Think about for you or anyone, husband, wife, whatever. If you're you come back and every day they're trying to persuade you, manipulate you to stay with them, because if they don't, or else, this will happen. If you don't do this, or else, if you don't go over and do this, you need to, or else. That no one wants that. You're never happy. But if it's you come back to a loving family, and it's I genuinely don't have to convince my wife to go over and stay with me, because I try to do everything with my actions, my words, my values, my morals, everything that will be the type of person where she goes and looks at and goes, I wouldn't never want anyone else. I want to be with him. That's long term, right? So I don't know. It's funny though. The only people that go over and run those ads and try to screw people over and manipulate people are people that think very, very, very small.
I think you're right when you said before. Is there a scam sooner or later that will come out, and that's the reason why they try to convince you so fast, because they're gonna sell you something so fast, and that their income that is coming. What do you think is the most common lie from both sides, the recruiter and the person that is looking for a job?
I don't think so. This isn't something recruiters specifically say for the most part, but I think it's an underlying message. When recruiters talk about the good of everything, the message that's conveyed to the person who's being recruited is that this is going to only be good. Only good things come from it. So 'cause as a recruiter, you obviously want people to feel really good about it. If you go and say, hey, nice to meet you, tell me about yourself. Hey, let me just tell you a little bit more about Moxie. This is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. You might fail. You might not make any money. You might go and hate your life for the first couple of weeks. If that's all I said, they'd go end call, right away. But if on the other hand, you only talk about the good things, then the expectations are very, very, very high. And so even if someone comes out and, they do good their first week, there's a lot of people that come out in the summertime that sell well their first month, but go home still. Wow. Because the expectations set were so high that even if it's really, really good comparatively, their mind's already set on, I'm falling below where I need to go. This isn't for me, which is super hard. So I think that's one of the biggest lies, is that there's only upside and there's no downside. And from the recruiter, if I'm interviewing someone, a lie that they tell me, I would say that one of the biggest ones, they never think of this as a lie, but the lie that I hear so much from people that are signed on, that want to quit, whatever, is, oh, I'm not necessarily passionate about this. So when I find something that I'm passionate about, then I'll go over and work hard. And it comes down to that. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so the funny part is, and I tell people this all the time, I say, hey, I love you. And assuming I know them, not my first interview. I'm not going to say I love you first interview. We have a relationship. Hey, I love you, but I promise you 5 years from now, I'm willing to bet $10,000 that you are not better in a better space than you are right now, unless you go and finish the summer strong. Because when you go and you say, hey, if I were to go and do something that I'm passionate about, then I'll work hard. Then I'll be committed. It's like, no, the people that go over and win and I succeed in life, if they worked at McDonald's, they would be the best burger flipper McDonald's has ever seen, because it doesn't matter what the action is.
That's right.
That's just at their core value. That's what they believe they are. And so,
if you're doing something, do it at the best you can. Always.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is way easier said than done, because, it's an emotional thing, right?
Right.
You work at McDonald's and you go, you know what? No, I'm just going to kind of lay low. I'm going to get paid the same amount anyway. So like, why would I work harder? But it's your belief. It's who you are at your core. And if you're at your core, you try to find the easy way out, you're never going to be successful, which is okay. But if you are, you at your core, you are the hardest worker, you're disciplined. You work at McDonald's, you're dripping sweat, flipping as many burgers as possible, because like there's no other way that you would live your life. Like you just give it all in everything that you go over and do. So that's the biggest lie here is, when the time comes, then I'll work hard. It's like, well, the time's here today, right now. So like, let's go over and do it. And they go, well, no, when I go and start my business, then I'll work hard. I'm like, dude, you're not going to start a business, man. Like, I promise you, unless something drastically changes, you're not going to do that. So I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think is, for you recruiting, what is the most important? The skills, personality, or the potential of a person?
Potential, for sure. There's the quote of, treat a man as he is and he'll remain as he is, but treat a man as he should be and he will become who he should be. It's that. Like, again, you walk into a room and you see a bunch of guys that have the stereotypical salesman body, whatever it may be. You can see a dude who's, 120 pounds, 5'4", glasses, nerdy, pimples on his face. And that guy could be the top rep of the entire company, because if he believes he can go over and do it, then the actions are in accordance with that. And he ends up making it work and killing it and doing super, super good. And so it's really cool. So, and I'll say this, like, our brains are super unique, and I like the psychology behind it, but our brains are super unique, where what we tell our brain, like, so if I look at you and I look at Leo and I say, I see a really, really scary person, whatever it may be, that is super ill-willed, bad intentioned, and I'm looking at you smiling and you're happy, my brain doesn't know like what I'm looking at. It just goes based off of what I think. So it will feel feelings of fear or nervousness or anxiety. Or I go, I have the most guapo guy talking to me, and I go and he's here, he's amazing, he's always happy. Like, everyone knows you for being positive and happy, and everyone loves to be around you. And so when I think about that, then every time I see you, I don't have to think of those things anymore. It's that emotion. Yeah, it's connected. The emotion goes and releases. So the reason why I even bring that up is, if you go over and you think about your ideal future and you think about where you want to go and you feel deeply the emotions that will come with that sort of lifestyle, then it doesn't matter, again, if you're tall, short, skinny, fat, whatever.
Absolutely.
You will make it happen because you want it so deeply, more than anyone else, because you actually put 5 minutes a day to think about it, rather than people that don't put any thought into it. And they're all, right now, and something hard happens and they give up because they're like, I don't see how this is going to affect me later on, because they haven't put the thought into it. Huge differences. And so showing people their potential so then they can actually work towards their potential is the most powerful thing ever. And then the consequence of that is they start to develop talents to help them get there. Like, that's just the natural consequence that happens. But if you focus on talents and they have, you don't show them what their potential or future could be like, it's the same person that goes and they give up after 2 days because they're like, yeah, not for me. I'll try harder later on. It's like, no, you won't. So that's what I would say. Potential is key.
Is there, because you did this so many times in recruiting and speak with people, is there something that you understand right away in the first 30 seconds that you think normal people, because they didn't do this over and over and over, can?
100%. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's the term that you can't rush the process. Like, Tim Hedrick, awesome, super, super guy. He talks about how, and he probably is referencing someone else for sure. I mean, it might have came from him, maybe not. But he talks about how you need to put 10,000 hours into something to actually master it, right? So until you put 10,000 hours into like meeting with people or knocking a door, you can't say that you're fully like, you mastered that, right? So yeah, there's certain things like, I'd sit in on interviews my first year team leading. I would be like, I'm saying the same words that you are, but like nothing's happening. I'm not having the same sort of results. And you realize through like repetition over and over and over and over again, you get really good at reading people. You get really good at discerning and identifying like what questions to ask them next, or to focus on what things, to emphasize, or to show them that they can get from this job if they go over and do this well. So it all comes with time. And a lot of it isn't like I now realize that now. It's making so many mistakes like I've done and interviewing so many people. I've learned more importantly, I've learned more of what not to say and like what not to do than what to actually do. I'm like, avoid that. That's like a rabbit hole that we're never going to get out of. Or avoid this because then you start, getting them to a certain point where they don't want to be, whatever it may be. But you just can't rush the process. And so it takes repetition. It takes failing. It takes learning from those failures, all those different things to actually know what to say with people. And I'm still learning it now. But the cool part is when you truly have the mindset of I'm here to make this person's life better and I have their best interest in mind, you typically like tend to say the right sort of things because you're not going in there with bad intentions. You're going there with the intention of, hey, either this is going to be the best thing for you and we're going to go over and do this, or it's not going to be, and I'm not going to convince you to go over and do it, if that makes sense. So,
and do you think that in the future technology is going to change all of this, meaning that recruitment is going to be online, and for all the advancement that, for example, AI did right now, do you think eventually this one-to-one person recruiting will disappear and it will be only online, or not really?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I think about it like this, because again, if we go back to emotion, like emotion is what drives people. If you have a robot saying, yeah, you will go and make $500 and whatever it may be, like there's no energy, there's no human connection right there, right? If you can go and give someone a hug, like there's a different feeling from that than hugging like a robot, right? Like there's like that sort of idea when it comes to recruiting is that. And so mainly because with AI, one, there's not that human connection, there's not that energy. But on top of that, like when I'm interviewing people, I'm not thinking in my mind what I'm going to say next. Like I'm truly listening to them and saying and thinking, what is going to be the next thing that I should say to this person based off of what they're saying. AI, it's programmed, it's there. It might ask a question, but there's certain times where, you're meeting with somebody and there's all these different logical things or logical reasons like AI would focus on to help them overcome whatever they're feeling. But sometimes I meet with a rep and he's like, I had a hard day. Like I went over and, sucked at sales. I got 0. It was really, really tough. There's a lot of logical things of like, what were you focusing on? Like, were you working hard? Were you talking about these certain things with people, yada, yada, rather than for me, if I'm in the moment, I feel some sort of energy. It could be like, dude, like what's going on, man? Like what's going on personally? Like, how are you? And you find out my mom just got diagnosed with cancer, right? Like that would never be something that a logical AI thing could ever identify with a conversation because it's not like that. But there's a unique thing that we have as humans. There's a lot of unique things, but one of them is being able to actually like feel people's emotions and feel what they're saying at a deeper level than artificial intelligence will ever be able to, which I think in general, if you go and have that conversation with a guy who his mom had cancer and you can truly like be there for him and listen to him, you might not even say anything, but he will remember that for years. And when he works for you 3 years later, he'll go, the reason I'm here is because like there's no other person I'd want to work with besides Tanner because of what he did that one night and just listen to me. Like that's irreplaceable. So
short answer, recruiting is still one of these jobs that need a human connection.
I think recruiting is one of the jobs that needs a human connection if you're looking for long-term scalability. I think I run ads on Instagram or I have a company that runs ads for me, which gets people's foot in the door. But like there's a reason I used to make content a little bit. I stopped doing that because I want their first interaction to be with like a real me instead of like a video. Because again, you feel an energy from someone that's different. When you meet them, you're like, oh, this guy's full of it. You can just tell, even whatever they're saying, you can tell, or it's like, yeah, this guy's the real thing. So I think for longevity, for scaling, I think you can't get rid of the human connection. But yeah, there's different benefits with AI for like the short term or getting people's foot in the door, whatever it may be, like super sexy marketing, targeted marketing for those people, whatever it may be, like telling them something they want to hear. So then they're open to the idea and their guards down a little bit. But at the end of the day, if they don't trust you, they don't like you, they don't believe in you, then it's not going to matter. And it's really hard to convey that sort of stuff with AI compared to like an actual human relationship. So
yeah, I agree.
It's kind of a ramble, but that's what I would say.
Is there anything like a person that you recruit that is coming back and saying, hey, the first time I met you and we talk about this job, I really misunderstood something. Is there a misunderstanding from the recruiter, from the person that you recruit, that is happening more often? That you think, oh, this is happen, people misunderstand something, they misunderstand what is the real job or what they will do. What is the biggest misunderstanding from the people that you're recruiting?
So I think for me right now, there's not a lot of misunderstanding personally. And not to say I'm the best ever, because I'm not. But
also a lot depend by the other people, The other
Correct.
people, you can be very good on convincing people, and then the other people are like, oh, I thought that this was different. It's nothing about you, but it's about them, you know?
It's like, so it's the same thing on the doors. Whether you're selling someone or recruiting, basically you have to assume that you need to tell someone something 15 different times for them to actually hear it. Like actually, because I mean, we're so good at human beings. When people are talking to us, we're super good at just naturally thinking of something that we're going to say afterwards where we don't even understand what that person just said to us. But here's what I'll say is, as you get better at recruiting, and again, by being better, I mean being more bought in, understanding what it takes for people to go over and win and sell well and all those different things. I don't let people sign on until they know what they're getting themselves into. And I tell them that too. Like I'm very specific of, hey, I truly believe a commitment is easily made, that's easily made is easily broken. So I know you're feeling right here an emotional high. I want you to get down to baseline emotions. I want you to think about this logically and say, hey, is this something that I want to go over and do? Because if you're not, I don't want anyone to join the team and sign on if they're not fully committed. Because it's bad for you, it's bad for me. So figure that out. And then typically, I mean, people respect that a lot. But yeah, again, it just comes down to being honest and having, your intentions clear with people. And also being that type of person that people trust, because that happens. I mean, you forget to say certain things certain times, they come over to you. But if you're the type of person that has a track record of like not telling the full truth, they come at it like a lot more angry and like aggressive, because they're like, dude, you do this all the time. What is happening? Rather than, hey, Tanner's got a track record of doing everything in my best interest consistently. When I didn't know this one part of it, they assume he didn't mean to like not tell me that, which is true if that ever does happen. So it comes at a point of, hey, by the way, can you clarify this? Rather than, dude, are you like, what's going on here? Like, you didn't tell me this. That's a completely different sort of conversation. So again, being the type of person that you want to become and being principle centered, focusing on the right things, it allows you to kind of have less of those situations. And if you do have those situations, it's not a big deal because they know that you didn't mean, harm or bad intentions upon it. So,
are you one of these person that look the resume, or that doesn't really mean anything for recruiting, like salespeople? You need to feel if a guy is ready, if he's good, or if he's open. Do resume for your recruitment means anything at all?
It means just a little bit. It doesn't mean a lot. And the main reason why I say that is, again, it's a quote where who you are speaks so loudly that I cannot hear the words that you're saying, which basically it's like so many people tell me I'm going to be the rookie of the year. I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to be this guy. And then after a day they quit. And so they didn't really want to go over and do that. They didn't really have that desire because their actions weren't in line with it. So it's basically like this. Cool. You can tell me that you're this person. You can tell me that you do this thing. Cool. Show me. That's what it comes down to. Cool. Like, that's awesome. You say that, but show me. Because I really don't believe you until you show me with your actions. Because the trend of everyone now, not everyone, most people this day and age is they think that they want certain things, but they don't understand what it takes to actually get there.
Right.
So when things are like at any point like inconvenient for them at all, they just break down and they give up. And I'm like, remember when you said that you like wanted this? What happened to that? They're like, well, I changed my mind. I actually want this now. I'm like, well, you don't. So like, your actions speak louder than your words. And so resumes are okay to kind of give a baseline, but again, my whole point when I first meet with people is I really want to see who they are at their core. And I know I can't see that until I see their actions, but I want to go and do the best I possibly can to weed those people out so then they don't make the rest of the summertime worse for everybody else.
Yeah, at least you try the best. And then, for everybody and all these people that want to do exactly the same like you do and recruit other people, if recruiting is an art, let's say, right? What separates a master from a beginner, you think? What separates them?
First thing I would think of is time. So again, people can like watch this and they can take this as, I'm going to apply these things right now and I'm going to get good at it right away. Like, expect to fail for the majority of the time. You can't rush the process. So you have to go through the learning curve and go through the nose, go through the punch in the nose where, you get all teary-eyed, you're disoriented, you have no idea what's going on. You have to go through that to go over and succeed. But the other part is you need to just be really bought into where you want to go. Like, I preach integrity, and I preach on doing the right thing when nobody's watching, and I preach on doing what's in their best interest. But if at my core, I don't have any plan to go over and help people win during the summertime, I am like being a very, very evil person by talking to someone and trying to convince them to go over and do this when I know that they could go and do something with someone else that's a lot more bought in than being with me. Like, it's very, very selfish and very deceiving. And so it's also that it's trusting the process, and it's putting in the hours and putting in the work, which I'm still doing. I'm not there yet, but I'm still doing it. I right now I have 33 new people signed in the last semester. And that's from zero. I started with 0 people, like 0 now to 33, and it's been incredible. But the other part is people will find out your truth. And so if you are not who you say you are, stop. Figure out who you are, make sure that your actions are aligned with that, and then start to go over and recruit. Because if you don't, then I think that you truly are an evil person if you're trying to convince people to do things that aren't in their best interest for your gain when you're not, bought in into helping them go and make that a reality. So
makes sense.
That's my whole.
And what is the craziest thing that somebody told you or happened during a recruitment? If you have a funny story, it's like, this is absolutely the crazy thing that somebody told me in a recruitment, that didn't agree, or he thought that the job was different. Do you have any of these crazy stories that you're like...
During like a recruiting meeting?
Yeah, like, what do you expect that I do, Because people are so entitled that sometimes they will come with the worst... expectation, oh, you're not doing this for me, or you're not doing this for me. And
I would say, I don't know, if you ask me about on the doors, like when I'm selling on the doors, there's a lot more crazy things that happen. But with recruiting, it's not as crazy, mainly because there's like a vetting process that my marketing team will go over and do before I meet with people. Also, if someone that is on the team refers someone to me to go over and meet, then they know who that person is at least a little bit. And if they knew already that person was a crazy, weird, awful person, they would never have referred them over to me, right? So
right.
On the
so
door,
there is a filtration already.
Correct. But one thing that's...
Let's speak about the biggest surprise then. What is the biggest surprise you ever had recruiting people?
So I'll say like a consistent thing, not necessarily one event, but I'll give one example of this. A consistent thing is, the most surprising thing that I see is when people are extremely entitled with having nothing to show for it. So when people come to meetings demanding certain money, demanding whatever it may be, and they have no track record of anything.
How often does this happen?
It doesn't happen crazy often.
Good.
Yeah. Mainly because it's funny, and we'll go back to what you said. So the majority of times that happens is typically when people come from another company. I like recruiting people that have no prior experience, mainly because when a bad apple is bad, it's really, really hard to turn into a good apple. So when they come with their baggage and,
for sure,
and they're like, they're flawed, they're weird paradigms of limiting beliefs, whatever it may be, it's a cancer to other people.
It's easier to start something from zero than clean first and then rebuild.
Correct.
From zero. Yeah,
it's like teaching an old dog new tricks. It's like, if they've been to 3 companies already, when they come over to you and they want to go and they want to meet and they want to go and join your team after the 4th company, it's like, if they were the type of person that I want to work with, they probably would have made it work at the other companies already. Right. At least one of them, right?
Good point.
I believe in that. I don't judge them. And I don't just brush it off. But I'm very, very very strict with those type of people, because if there's any sort of red flags that show, oh, this is probably why you left this other company, I don't do it. So
you still give a possibility, an opportunity, but then
everyone can change. Like, there's crazy. I mean, there's so many on ads. There's so many ads where people are like, I came from doing heroin and doing fentanyl and living homeless to now being like the top sales rep at my company. Whether that's true or not, they're not homeless anymore. They look a lot better.
Right.
So I never judge people, based off of their cover, but their truth becomes known extremely quickly after, like, there's certain questions that I go over and ask, right? And so once I go over and do that, if there's a lot of red flags, I typically go and cut it off. But if I can tell that they're genuinely they're trying to go and make the best out of it, then yeah, I try to give them a shot, but I set really good expectations of, hey, this is like my fear of hiring people from other companies like I'm doing right now. And so just so you know, like where I'm coming from. So again, they know my intentions. They know it very, very clearly. So there's no sort of like, I thought this. So, but yeah, I don't know. Besides that, there's not any really crazy stories of like, I wish I had some. I mean, I could make one up. That wouldn't be real, but like for the most part, I mean, I guess I had someone join, an interview naked one time.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see everything. I mean, it was above, but like he went over to go over and like move the camera, and I could see like in this mirror that his like butt was hanging out, and it was like, I'm like, but I realized pretty quickly that type of person already, I mean, even if he was clothed, was not going to be the type of person that would have fit the culture. So I was like, yeah, but it was interesting. I even said something because it's not like I asked this question. I'm like, dude, do you have clothes on? He's like, oh, I guess I don't. I'm like, what do you mean you guessed you don't? Like, it was really weird. But anyways, yeah, it's funny.
And I think that if we want to talk about crazy surprise and things weird that happen is the door-to-door, and that's another episode of what happened when you go to sell door-to-door.
There's so many crazy experiences you have on door-to-door. But
I can't believe it.
But yeah, it's very similar. It's, again, how you do anything is how you do everything. So, yeah, a lot of crazy experiences.
And as a last question that I want to ask you, recruiting, and did you notice that year after year there is something that is changing on recruiting people? Do you think that in 10 years where recruiting is going to be, what is going to be? Do you think something is going to change?
So, I mean, I guess one part to answer that question is I've found over the last few years that most companies, because they can't do this, most companies aren't talking about the things that they can offer. They're just bashing on other companies of what that company isn't able to provide for them. So, which is why so many people have the grass is greener on the other side syndrome, where they're always jumping from other new grass because they're like, oh, this grass is greener, let's go there. Oh, this grass is actually kind of brown, let's jump to this grass because it sounds so good. I'm under the impression that the grass is green where you water it. So it's not necessarily green on the other side, it's green where you water it. So if you go and you find a company, whether it's, the best company, not the best company, if you water it and you're truly surrounded, assuming that they're good people, their morals, their ethics, their principles, they're all in line, you can go over and succeed anywhere. And I think the people that have the tendency to keep jumping and like the shiny object syndrome, keep chasing that, keep jumping to the grass is greener on the other side, keep going over the hill. Those are the people that typically are out of this industry after a couple of years, because their expectations are so high from whatever avenue that they got those high expectations. It's always going to be undermet. Like it's always going to be like not delivered upon because of how high it is. And so, yeah, when I learned to set my expectations really low and be okay with whatever happens, now not like giving it minimal effort, but still giving it my all, being with people that I care about, you tend to perform and do better, like personally, financially, than anyone else that's jumping to other companies. And so, I think in the future, I hope that it sort of heals from that. And hopefully the companies that are doing that consistently now are weeded out and they don't last, which will probably happen because it's like that's just a tendency that we've seen.
And do you think that there is a stereotype of what people pretend from you, that they come in interview and they said, oh, I thought it was in this way and now you're telling me it's in this other way? Is there the most famous stereotype that people are looking for when they are looking for a job?
I think that there's some people that come into it a little bit hesitant because they've had friends or family or whatever that have done door-to-door that haven't had the best experience because the person that they're with or the company they're with screwed them over, whatever happened. So they kind of come into it like a little bit weary of it if they ever know about door-to-door. But then you just let them know it completely depends on where you go. Like everywhere is different. And so if you decide to go and build your foundation here and scale here with these type of people, like are these people the type of people that you want to go over and build with? Yes. Awesome. This is the place for you. If your brother, cousin, friend would have asked that same question with the company that they got screwed over by before he went over and did it with them, he probably would have said no. Like it sounds really good, but I don't really align with these people. Because if he did, he wouldn't have gotten screwed over. So yeah, there's that. But I mean, to be fair, there's not really a big stereotype coming into it. So
good. Well, thank you so much, Tanner, to let us understand a little bit more about all of this.
Yeah.
This was really helpful for me. At the end of this podcast, I always give a little gadget that is it's just a gadget that you've been here and we had this conversation. I think something cute that you can put wherever you want, in your desk.
I love it.
In your bathroom. Seriously.
Somewhere.
You can put whatever you want.
On my head.
We need to put the date on
Okay.
here. Yeah, I hope that this, from Leo, this give you the memory that every single time you watch it and you see this and you say, oh yeah, I remember that
I
day.
will.
I had a good conversation.
Yeah, it
And
was
maybe you can actually come back and we can talk about something else.
Yeah,
So-
if you don't hate what I said, then I can come back over too, I promise.
Yes. Thank you so much
It was
to
awesome.
be here, and thank you for everything that you said. It was very helpful.
I appreciate
Thank
it. Thanks, Leo.
you. Thank you.